Hey, how's it going, everybody? Expat Stacker, and in this video we're going to do an old school expat unboxing. Before I do get to that though, I do want to give a quick shout out to a great channel. A lot of you guys know this guy, Pirate Stacker. Okay, I really want you guys to go over and check out this dude's channel if you haven't already. I'm going to tell you why in a second, but let's get this box opened up here before I tell you why. So, you know, I just felt like doing kind of old school unboxing. Sometimes I like to listen to that sound of that box opening up. So we got something here that I wanted. I tried to get it a few weeks ago, and then it disappeared, and then it reappeared, so I pulled the trigger on it as soon as I saw it. And you probably can tell that this is not gold. It's not silver. It is copper. So let's take a look at what it is. This is a really, really nice piece. This is the 5oz Copper Aztec Round. I have seen this Aztec Round on a few channels. Saw it on my boy's fish channel, and I've seen a silver one on a few channels. I love this copper look to it. You know what I mean? I mean, this is not a white man right here, you know? So like I feel like the copper look is like kind of more realistic on this warrior right here. And man, the design, this is one of the most exquisite, beautiful and detailed designs I have ever seen on any round. Whether it's silver or copper. Look at that. Dude, that is incredible. Imagine having that as a tattoo. That would be dope. That's like the Mayan calendar, I guess. Or is it the Aztec calendar? I don't know. I just watched a fish video actually, and he's like, never do research before you make a video. So normally I always do that, but he told me not to, so I didn't. Also, I just wanted to see this thing real bad, so I just decided to do an old school unboxing. It just came today. Man, this thing is so legit. Oh man, I really want to get another one of these now. But I am super happy that I got this one, because I was bummed, man. I saw it like I said, a few days ago, a few weeks ago or whatever, and then I was like, yeah, there's a time limit on some of the bullion dealers here. Like, they close down for the day, you know, just in case, you know, because the markets are mostly determined by what happens in the U.S. markets, in the U.S. dollar and stuff like that, right? So some of them close down for the day, like in the evening time. So I was like 2 minutes late to get this, and then the next day they had taken it down, and I was like, no. So I missed it, but then it popped back up. Okay, so I told you that I was going to talk about my boy Pirate Stacker, and why did I tell you to go over to his channel? Not just because he's an awesome dude, which he is, but he also is doing a new segment, a new show on his channel called The Copper Report. And he's going to be talking about all things copper related, and I love it. He just did the first episode yesterday. Well, this video might not come out for a few days, but I watched the first one yesterday. So I'm going through some pennies here, because while I'm talking, we'll just look at these, because I learned from Pirate that let's go ahead and get this zoomed in a little bit. I learned from Pirate that pre-1982 pennies consist of 95% copper and 5% zinc. I didn't know that before. So I have also recently gotten into coin collecting because of my boy Pirate Stacker. And I had a bunch of American coins and all these other coins, you know, from other countries. where, okay, so 1982, so pre 1982. Uh, okay, I don't know if 1982 is still 95% copper, but I'm just gonna put it in the maybe pile for now. I'll put it behind here. Check it out later off camera, so I'm not gonna have to bore you guys with that. But anyways, guys, Pirate Stacker is the Copper King. That's not what we're looking for. And you can learn a lot about copper from his channel. There you go, 1976. So this one here is 95% copper. So these, what I learned on Pirate's channel is that these are actually worth probably double their face value for now. They're worth 1 cent, right? But because of the copper content, they're actually worth about 2 cents. So I read this story I was reading the news, before going to bed yesterday, and I read about this guy in Atlanta, Georgia, and he basically was a worker at an auto body shop or something like that, a repair shop, mechanic, and his boss, I guess, is kind of a real jerk, and he paid the guy in pennies. And I was thinking, 'cause he tried to pay the worker like $1,000 in pennies. He covered the pennies in grease as well, so that was kind of a bad move. Like, really, just trying to be mean, just trying to like pay the guy $1,000 in all pennies. That's bad enough, and then he covers them all in like grease. That's kind of messed up. But he might have actually, if the majority of those pennies are like old and kind of like the pre 1982 ones, then he might have actually paid the guy double what he actually owed him. So I thought to myself, like, that guy who got paid in all pennies might have actually came up. So I thought that was funny. But anyways, I left a comment on Pirate Stagger's his first copper report video, and I was telling him that because he was talking about the number one uses for copper, which is in construction, and then he was also talking about its potential in the future, which is in electronics, basically electronic vehicles, mobile devices, and things like that. So I told him that electronic vehicles, the market is projected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 25.3%. Okay, hard to see with that, 88. So no, and from now to 2025, which is a lot of growth in a short period of time. And the market cap is supposed to increase to over 67 billion. And in terms of the volume of units of the electric vehicles, it's a compound annual growth rate of over 32%. And so far, just look at Tesla's stock. So far, all of the electric vehicle, predictions and stuff have been basically crushed by reality. It's a market that's expanding way faster, and the competition is incredibly strong, and there's a lot of money in it. I live here in South Korea. There are a lot of big companies that are getting behind electric vehicles and electric vehicle batteries. Okay, so I'm gonna have to double check this one too. 1982. But basically, there's like 180 to 200 pounds of copper per electric vehicle. Let's see, 81. Yes. Excuse me, 150 to 200 pounds of copper per electric vehicle. So that's a lot of copper. And when I just told you a 32.4% compound annual growth rate, that's not a 32% increase compound annual growth rate. If you don't know what that means, that's not just a percentage increase. You can go look it up. But basically, like, that industry is about to explode. It's an extremely lucrative. Okay, so I'm betting this one probably is pre 82, because look at that mint green right there is indicative of copper. So now it could be after 82 and just have a copper plating, but let's see. Oh, 85. They got me. All right. Anyways, incredibly lucrative market. Also, I really think that, speaking of construction, which is what Pirate was talking about in his copper report video, I really think that a lot of these governments around the world are going to be doing infrastructure projects in order to kickstart their economies, which a lot of them have been really, just head cracked and dented and dinged by this whole global shutdown thing with the coronavirus. So, I'm going to say coronavirus. I'm tired of saying beer flu and all these little code words, whatever, man. So, yeah. And the other thing when it comes to electronics is obviously smartphones, tablets, computers, laptops, and stuff like that. So, the smallest one of those would probably be the smartphone, right? Um, and if you combine all of the copper, silver, and platinum that's in a smartphone, it doesn't even equal half a gram. But there's 16 grams of copper in one iPhone. So, and in 2020 alone, they sold, over 1.5 billion smartphones around the world. Now, what's important to keep in mind is that that's also a growing market because there are a lot of developing countries and underdeveloped countries that don't have internet infrastructure. And as they get it, which a lot of them are now, like take Vietnam, for example, it's quickly developing and they're getting 5G networks set up there. Their people are going to be getting more and more smartphones as that happens. So the demand for copper is going to increase. Like I said, only 1.5 billion smartphones only in 1 year. And that doesn't include computers, laptops, or other electronic devices. And even as people transition away from, the older cell phones, those also still have copper in them. So, I mean, as we move toward more sustainable energy, which is what Pirate talks about, there is going to be a lot more industrial demand for copper. And copper mining is not the same as silver, gold, or platinum mining. Copper mines are much larger, large scale operations. And copper is not a precious metal, it's not scarce by any means, but it is in everything, and it's more difficult. It takes longer to set up a copper mine operation than it does a gold mine operation. Let's say gold mine operation is much smaller because gold is more scarce, and copper mines take a much longer time to establish because they're a much larger operation, and that hasn't been going on, as of recently, because of the global shutdowns. But even before that, I mean, back in the end of 2019, I did a market overview video, which I talked a lot about copper, and at that time, I thought there would be a lot of infrastructure project spending. I mean, it was something that former President Donald Trump had talked about, and I actually think that if the pandemic hadn't have happened and he didn't have to divert a lot of his resources into that he may have done infrastructure projects. But anyway, the reality is a little different. But I have been thinking that was going to happen for a long time. Now I'm even more convinced that a lot of these governments and stuff around the world are going to be doing infrastructure projects that require copper. A lot of them are moving toward these more sustainable forms of energy, and that all requires. Wow, man, that one beat up bad. Okay. All right, so basically, there are a lot of uses for copper. There's a lot of infrastructure spending that's coming down the pipe. I think we're seeing possibly $3 trillion in infrastructure spending from current President Joe Biden in the United States, and I think it's going to happen all around the world. There's increasing demand for it in other sectors, electronics, automobiles, And it's not just governments, it's huge companies, Tesla, Hyundai Motors, SK, Samsung. So, it's definitely something you should pay attention to. Stacking physical copper, I'm not sure that that's going to be super lucrative or, pay off or whatever, but it is fun. I kind of like the novelty of it a little bit. Like, I also think that I would be able to, potentially sell this type of thing, like flipping it. Although I don't want to. I bought this because I really like this one. And if anything, I'm gonna be getting more of these. But anyway, I think copper is something you definitely want to pay attention to. You could potentially make a lot of money off of it if you trade in the paper markets, because another really great point that Pirate made was that it's not as heavily manipulated as the precious metals markets. Um, so I'm gonna have to look up these 1982s and to see if this is the cutoff year or if this is the year that after the cutoff year. So we'll see about those. These are all, basically no copper. These are all 95% copper, which is cool, man. It just shows you. Look, I'm in a foreign country. I'm in Korea. I don't even remember how I brought this here. It was like maybe on the way here or something, or when I had taken a trip back to the US or whatever, and I already found this is not that many coins, and I basically found between 8 or possibly 10. So yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm all about that copper. If you want to make like some money off of it, look into trading the paper markets, or if storage space is not an issue, then I mean it's like $4 a pound right now, so you can get a whole bunch of kilo bars or whatever. It's also pretty easy to find, like this. Um, so physical is a possibility if storage is not a big issue for you. Otherwise, look into paper markets, mining stocks, and companies that are going to be supplying this. That's the thing, basically, that I want to talk about. It's not only the industrial demand. You can look at the supply side and also make money off of that without just stacking the actual physical commodity. So that's another thing to be aware of. I'm sure that Pirate is going to be way more fun and entertaining talking about this stuff than I will be. But I just wanted to tell you guys about this because I believe in copper, and I think it kind of doesn't get talked about all that frequently. But also, Pirate talked about a Facebook group that he's a part of. So there's a lot of great stuff over on Pirate Stacker's channel. I'm really excited for the Copper Report. This is basically a huge commercial for that. Plus, also, I wanted to show you guys this awesome round. So check out Pirate Stacker Copper Report and tell him that Expat Stacker sent you over there. This is Expat Stacker. I'll catch you on the flip side.